Hey, so showing an update of Rendepth, my 2D to 3D image converter and viewer. So let me just open this image. These is like some stock images I downloaded. So it took a second to load because these are, I guess, what I consider like like professional stock photos, so like 6K, 8K images, like pretty high resolution JPEGs. Like if I let me just close this. If I go here, you see this is a 6 MB. This one is 4. This one's 10 MB. So these are pretty huge JPEGs. So it takes like 2-3 seconds to open, but that's expected. So what I worked on recently is the UI, or the beginning of the UI. So if I kind of move around to the edge of the screen, you see here I have these icons, and if I click, they're actually functional. It goes to the next image here, and again, the transition takes, like here, I'm gonna click right now, and then we have, so that was like, I don't know, 2 seconds or something. But like I said, these are like 6K, 8K images. So that's kind of a stress test. If the images were 1080p 2K, would be in the way less than a millisecond. So that's good. And then I also have a 3D button here. I'll show that in a second. So I can go through here, and we'll if I just double click in the middle, this will expand it so we could see basically full image. And then here the icons are going to be for the actual full screen window here. And then this is probably a good image, so I'm gonna test the 3D right now. So here there's a 3D button at the bottom. If I click this, it switches to the stereo 3D mode. Now in this case, I already pre-computed the depth maps. These are saved in the image because there's kind of two parts. That part is in Python, and it's not kind of integrated into the C++ app yet. So when this is live, if you are opening like a 2D image and converting it, that would need to process at that point. So that's not completely done, but these are pre-computed depth maps. So here what I could do is, so this is the original photo, right, and this is the anaglyph. And now I could I don't have buttons for this is just on the keyboard, but if I go here, okay, so this is the original photo, and then here is the left and the right. So I'm just clicking on the keyboard. So this is, you could see I can go between the left and the right here, and it doesn't look like a huge difference, but if you saw this on a 3D monitor, it would be pretty obvious. So let me find one with like a little more depth here. This one would probably be good. So this is the monoscopic image, and then you can see I can just show you this is the actual so this is the original image, and this is the depth map that was generated. So I could go back here. Now this is the 2D mono, and then here's left, right. So you can see it's this is actually the pretty ideal use case for the depth. So there's a little bit of artifacts, but they're very minor. This is like best case scenario. So you can see it looks pretty close to a native stereo image. And then I can put here the anaglyph mode back on. I also coded some other modes. So basically all the legacy old 3D formats are in here. So this is the anaglyph with my new kind of color filter, and then here's the side-by-side mode. I already have the UI is in stereo here, you could see, but the mouse cursor isn't. So it's a little weird right now to control, but at least it's displaying in 3D. I'm gonna have to make a custom mouse cursor, so that's that's fine. And then here is like a interlace mode, and then this is horizontal, vertical, and then checkerboard, which is I mean, these formats were used maybe 10 years ago or longer, so they're not very relevant, but people might still have old hardware. So I could put it back, so go back to the beginning. So here's the depth map. This is mono, left, right, and then I'll put anaglyph back. And then let me get out of full screen mode for a second. And I could probably just close this. So yeah, so that, I mean, that's the basics of what I added. It's just these, you see these 3 buttons. I mean, there's more buttons designed. I had my designer design, like, I think there's like, I don't know, like 16 buttons or 20 buttons or something like that, but they're not. I have to get them functional. You know, it's going to be things like for adjusting the stereo, like the 3D depth, and let's say, you know, different options, settings and stuff. Let me turn the 3D off. So there's yeah, there's it's not completely done, but this is, you know, it has kind of the basic functionality, and you can see here there's like a little transition even when the buttons appear, and transparency effects, and I mean, it seems to be working pretty good. I can go back into 3D mode, and that's basically instant because the like I said, the depth maps are pre-computed, and the 3D shader, I mean, it was meant for real-time games, so I think it takes like less than a millisecond, or like a 1080p. It's like a millisecond, so it's basically real-time. Oh, this image is pretty good in 3D. This is like, again, best case scenario. So that's the 2D, that's the 3D, and now let's go. So this is gonna be, that's the original. Let me move the mouse. That's the original, and then this is left, right. So you can see this is getting a pretty close to native stereo effect, because in this case there's, you know, the objects are all kind of similar size. There's not a lot of disocclusion or, you know, weird kind of scenarios with, like, you know, things behind other objects. So this is kind of the best case scenario. But in fact, for some images like this, the 2D conversion is actually going to be better than a real 3D camera, because especially with like macro shots, the camera, like the cameras you have, are going to have a fixed IPD, the distance between the camera lenses. So if you try to take a really close-up shot, it's going to be unless you have to adjust it in post. Basically, you can't use the shot you know, just out of the box. So this one, oh, that's the, okay, so you could see here, this has a lot of depth actually, and then on the left side there's a little bit of stretching that's like, I don't know, 15 pixels, 10-15 pixels. So that's kind of unavoidable because there's missing data on the edge because of the way the camera is going like into the screen. I might be able to like smooth that out a little bit, you know, blur it or do, you know, do some extra samples, that kind of thing. But it's honestly not that bad, because when you're looking at it in 3D, you also have the other side, like you have the left and the right, so it kind of looks okay in some sense because you're seeing in both eyes. So if I put the 3D, like this is a really, if you have anaglyph glasses, like, let me just go full screen. If you have anaglyph glasses, this is going to be a really nice shot. And then here I could go to some of the other one. This one has a little bit of artifacts like on the guy's glasses. I still like the algorithm. It's not 100%, but I'd say like, I don't know, maybe it's 90% there. There's some few small things I gotta fix. And this there's, you know, I think like, I don't know, 20 images, these stock images I got. This one is one of the ones with a little bit of artifacts because this pole is like kind of very thin, and this like yield sign or whatever. So things like that, if there's really kind of small details, or, you know, not a lot of kind of volume to the object, there's still some issues there. But I think I could work those out, and even in the worst case, I'll have sliders to adjust the depth. So if it's like a really, like, you know, troublesome image, you could always, you know, reduce the depth to 50% or something like that. These images right now, I don't have the tweaker sliders coded, so these are all at 100%, like the max settings, so they're gonna accentuate any artifacts. Obviously, you know, probably I would have default settings, like put them in the medium for default, and then users can choose to adjust it to their preference or whatever. So yeah, so that's just kind of the basics right now. I think, I mean, realistically, there's probably, I mean, it's basically working. I just have to combine the Python like ML depth code into this, so it's kind of one app. And then the other thing that's needed is the output to new displays, because right now these are all kind of like the legacy formats. So, you know, there's the Looking Glass, there's the Leia LoomPad, there's the Acer, the Spatial Labs monitor. There's probably a few other. Oh, there's like, I have this monitor from Proma. It's a Chinese company. It's kind of obscure. Like, that one's really good. So there's you know, a handful of new stereo 3D displays that I have to get output. And they, you know, they have like SDKs or things like that. So that's left, and I don't think that's gonna take more than like maybe 2 weeks, because the code's already working. Like, I have two, you know, like a render target with both eyes, with the left and the right eyes. So it's most of the APIs that I've seen, basically you either give it like, you know, one huge image with both eyes, or you have like two render targets, or whatever it is. But the data is already there. It's already there. It's just about kind of interfacing with the hardware, which I don't think is too hard. So I mean, that's basically where I'm at. I'm hoping to get this out publicly by the end of next month, by the end of I guess it'll be November. So that's about a month, about 30 days. So I think that's realistic. It might not have like every feature I want, but I think, like, you know, a solid initial release just with the, you know, the bare bones kind of bread and butter features. I think that's definitely possible. So that's, I mean, that's basically that. I'll probably make another video once I get the machine learning, like the depth conversion stuff kind of integrated. So it's, you know, so you could see like the conversion like live. Right now I actually got the AMD Rock'em working on my computer, which is, I've always had problems with the AMD, with that Rock'em driver, but I guess they finally fixed it, or Ubuntu did something on the new version. I don't know, but it worked. Like, I did the instructions and it just worked like it should. So that's working. So now with that and the code, which is basically, it's depth anything v2. I mean, I made some small tweaks, but it's basically it's depth anything. It could convert like an image like these images, which are like 5K, 6K, you know, and up, in about a second, maybe a little bit less. If you're using like smaller images like 1080p, it's like almost instant. You know, like not instant, but like, you know, 100 milliseconds, something like really extremely fast. I think the quality is like pretty good. It could probably be, you know, I have a few tests where it's a little higher quality, but then it takes, you know, like several seconds or whatever it is to convert, which I might put in as like an advanced option, like leave the performance mode, which is, you know, 1 second on a CPU, or basically, you know, like 100 milliseconds on a GPU as the default, because that's going to be, you know, good user experience. And then maybe have like one or two other kind of presets for higher quality, though. I mean, honestly, I'm not sure if it's needed, but I'll probably just put it in there just because it's already kind of working or whatever. And then beyond that, like I said, there's all these other buttons. The designer, I think there's like 16 buttons or something like that. So there's all kind of options, though I'm not launching with everything. So like, I want to have, you know, saving different formats, so you could save out, you know, side by side. You could save out into different proprietary formats, or, you know, whatever, things like that. So I don't have that yet. So I have icons, you know, for saving and loading. I might keep it simple just for launch and not have all that functionality, because I think that's going to need a lot of testing, especially with different, you know, different formats. it's a little more work. So I might just, you know, support something that's easy standard, like side by side, and then add those other formats, like, you know, down the road or whatever. Just come out with a base version. But so I mean, that's basically it. I mean, I can keep talking, but I mean, I think there's only, you know, so much here. It's image viewer, but I mean, that's basically that. So yeah. So thanks for watching. I guess I'll see you guys later in the video. Cheers.